Na sijasema hivyo, sijasema Mungu apendi watoto, anapenda wote. But you see, he created man first, and he ended those conversations with the man first. And therefore, for that reason, mimi naamini ya kwamba the male voice has a place in the heart of God. And that is why, if we fail therefore to speak about the man, if we fail to speak about this male voice, if we fail to redeem the man, basi kuna mambo mengi ambayo possibly hata Mungu mwenyewe haitamfurahisha. You know, let me say this. If you look at our society today, ukiangalia kile ambacho kinafanyika, of course in the previous, you know, in a few governments and kwa sheria na mambo mengi hapo, tumekuwa tukizungumza mambo ya the 2/3 gender, or rather the 1/3 gender rule. Yeah, that agenda, at least a third of agenda must be represented. Iwe ni kwa committee, iwe ni kwa bunge, iwe ni wherever. But of course, whenever we were talking about the 1/3 gender rule, we were always referring to the woman. Ya kwamba mwanamke akuwe represented, at least mwanamke asikose. But let me tell you my people, mimi naona kama hii mambo ni kama already imeanza kuchange. Ni kama hii mambo imeanza kwenda almost vice versa. Kwa sababu right now, unaangalia even the constitution and the composition of boards. Yeah? Unaangalia the composition of even our schools. The ratio of the male versus the female teachers. You know, the ratio of male versus female in this and that other field. And you realize, wanaume, you know, it's like a dwindling economy when we come to the man. As in, mambo ni kupungua inapungua. The numbers keep on coming lower and lower and lower. And I was even asking myself, by the way, this one was, nikaangalia nikajiuliza, by the way, what is happening? How many of us have ever seen a male ECD teacher? By the way, as in, mwanaume anafundisha PP1, PP2 pale, PP3, you know, in the baby class. How many of them are there? Hardly ever. Do we have anyone there? Lakini, these are the people that we also expect waweze kuinstill, you know, the manly kind of character kwa watoto wetu wavulana. Sitaki kusema ya kwamba maybe ndio ina affect watu wengi wanakuwa na character fulani, kwa sababu sisi wote by the way, mimi naamini like almost everybody ali pass through a female ECDE teacher. And of course, we learned, you know, the motherly love, you know, walikuwa ni kama wazazi, ni kama mama kwetu and all that. But I think it is a call to us men. I think we need to start looking into some of the careers na tuanze kusema ya kwamba hata hapa tutajiwakilisha. Hapa tutawakilisha wanaume wengine, so that at least hata mtoto akiwa pale PP3, ama kuna PP3, hakuna PP3, ni PP2. Ni PP1 and PP2. Hata mtoto akiwa pale PP1 ama PP2, at least anaweza akakaa akisikia a male voice, you know, anaanza kulearn even to take some commands, you know, to learn authority na mambo kama hayo. Now, aside from that, coming back to the men and addictions. Last Friday kuna mambo mengi tuliangalia, na siku ya leo by the way bwana Kagi hatuko na yeye siku ya leo. Kuna shughuli mbili tatu tu ameenda kushughulikia, you know, katika kujenga taifa. Okay, we are always building the nation, so kuna upande fulani anaojenga taifa, and very soon nitakuwa joined hapa by our guest ambaye najua already ako ndani ya nyumba, anajulikana kama Reverend Mahoya. Tutakuwa tunampata in a short while. Okay, now let me come back to what we were doing on Friday. On Friday, kuna a few things ambazo tuweza kuzungumzia. Now, one of the things ambayo tulisema is that kuna watu wanakuwa addicted even to things like food. Na tukasema, okay, hiyo sio wanaume peke yake, of course. You know, food addiction, ama, na hiyo, sidhani kama hata, sijui kama tunafaa kuita addiction. I think we just need to call it gluttony. Yeah, food addiction I think is ni jina tu ya kuyosha kidogo, lakini kwa hakika ni gluttony ama ulavi. So kuna watu wanapenda chakula ndio wanajichukia. And I think it was it yesterday? Was it yesterday ama ni juzi? I had Bishop Mwando. I was following, I think it was a lunch hour service, and he was giving a story of somebody ambaye alikosana, you know, and I think that was now a form of addiction. Now, a man gets married, mzee tu anakaa na heshima zake, ako na watoto 4. And mzee anaenda ananunua nyama. Akinunua nyama, kama amenunua nyama kama nusu for example, anakuja anachukua stool anakaa chini anaangalia nyama ikipikwa. So anapatia mama nyama hapo, anatulia, haendi mahali, anangojea nyama inapikwa, inaiva. Ikiiva, mama hata hakuna kuoja, kazi ya kuoja ni ya mzee. So mzee anakatiwa nusu inakatwa katikati kwa sufuria, as in hii nusu yote imeiva, kwanza mzee akule hiyo nusu moja. Hii ingine under supervision iwekwe maji. You know, ikishawekwa maji, then the next thing inafanya after imewekwa maji, then the next thing inafanya inaongezwa cabbage ama kama ama boga ama viazi or something, akiwa amekaa hapo. So ikishaongezwa sasa anatokea anapiga stroll 2-3 town ama hapo kijijini, anapatia loud 20-30 minutes ikuwe imeiva. Ikiiva anarudi nyumbani, anakaa chini hapo, inapakuliwa, anahakikisha amekula nusu kama like another half of what has been cooked. Sasa ile iko na boga, ile iko na viazi na zingine. Sasa watoto watosheke na hiyo ingine. So watoto na mke wake watosheke na with the rest. Of course that behavior was not very good even for the wife, and so nikasikia wife alikasirika, akarudi kwao. So mzee akabaki akiwa peke yake. And to cut the long story short, mzee baadaye akagonjeka, I think akapata pneumonia or something, and he fell in his house akiwa peke yake. Akaanguka kwa nyumba, kwa sakafu. I think the house haikuwa na floor, ilikuwa ni just earthen. Alipoanguka hana nguvu za kuita mtu, hakuna mtu wa kumshughulikia, ako peke yake. Mzee akaishia tu akiwa pale, na kulikuwa na siafu. So siafu actually ni kama ndio walimpeleka Kipsengwe, kwa sababu walikuja wakacover the whole body, wakaanza kumkula, amelala hapo chini, ameanguka, ako na pneumonia. Alikuwa anapatikana hapo 3 days later kama ameshaenda. And then one of the men, a friend of his, alikuja akamuita jina. Sitataja jina yake yenyewe aliitwa, sitataja jina, lakini akakuja akamwambia, wacha nimuite just a friend. Kamuuliza, rafiki, umekufa tu tumbo. As in, you just died kwa sababu ya kupenda tumbo, kwa sababu ya ulafi. In short, this addiction to food ndio imekuua, kwa sababu were it not for the addiction ama the gluttony, mke wako hangeondoka. Kama mke wako hangeondoka, maybe haungegojeka, na hata kama ungegojeka ungekuwa na mtu wa kukutunza. So kile ambacho kimetokea hakingetokea. So what killed the man sio ugonjwa. I think aliuawa tu na tumbo. I think it's just the gluttony. Let me say this. We have so much potential yenye imekuwa destroyed na kitu inaitwa addiction. There are people ambao wamewahi kupata even very well paying jobs, very well paying jobs, lakini they were not able to sustain them. Others were retrenched. Kwa sababu gani? Maybe mtu aliingia katika uraibu wa ulevi for example, ama mtu akaingia katika uraibu wa maybe kunaitwa nini hizi, kutumia madawa za kulevya. Akaanza kutumia dawa za kulevya. Maybe pale kwa kazi akakosa ile concentration. Unauliza mtu swali leo, unajua kuna kitu nimewahi kuobserve na watu especially ambao wana abuse marijuana ama cannabis ama bangi. Kama mmoja ati ulikuwa unakutana na yeye, unamsalimia, anakuangalia tu, anakusalimia, sasa mnene, kuangalia, alafu anaenda. 20 minutes later ni kama ndio hiyo sauti inafika kwa akili. So akiwa peke yake kwa barabara, mzuri sana, alafu akiangalia mwenye alikuwa amemsalimia ameenda. Kumbe it is 30 minutes later ndio anagutuka ya kwamba anahitajika kusalimika. So unakuta mtu kwa kazi amepewa an responsibility, anaambiwa afanya hivi, and then before even maybe at the end of the day ama kesho yake ndio anakumbuka, na niliambiwa niandike kitu fulani ama niliambiwa nishughulikie kitu fulani. But then unaenda kushughulikia, unakutana na barua, show cause letter. Tuonyeshe sababu kwa nini usifutwe, kwa nini usiondolewe katika hii kazi. Uraibu ama what I now the addictions, I think they have been responsible for mambo mengi and a great deal of depression, even in men. And kama kuna one of the things that I was looking at was actually looking at what was happening during hii time ya COVID. And wanaume walipata stress yenye hawakuwahi dhania katika hii maisha. Kwa sababu kuna watu hawajawahi kaa na watoto wao, kuna watu hawajawahi kaa na wake zao. Okay, of course anakuja maybe weekend, anakuja siku moja, siku mbili, anarudi. Anaenda anakaa miezi 3, anakuja kidogo. Then what happens after that? Ni kwamba COVID imehit na watu wamekaa nyumbani, na sasa you realize for the first time unakaa na mtu mwenye hujui. It's like you've never seen this person. Unaona watoto wameamka wakirukaruka asubuhi. Hujawahi ona wakirukaruka kwa sababu hujawahi kuwa huko in the first place asubuhi. Sasa kuuliza mnarukaruka hapa kama monkey asubuhi. Watoto wanaanza kuogopa, kwani huyu mtu naye ni nani? So let me tell you, I think that's one of the issues about it related a lot of depression and mental health issues kwa wanaume. And because I want us to invite the guest ambaye tuko naye siku ya leo, and maybe anapotusalimia atuambie what maybe was one of the feelings, one of the reactions, one of maybe kile ambacho tunaweza tukasema one of kile ambacho tunaweza tukasema was one of the hardest things kwa wanaume, one of the hardest things that men had to face during the time of COVID. And je, iliweza kuchangia kwa mambo ya addiction ama was it an addiction in itself? I think they would be getting that. Lakini kwanza, first things first. Man of God.
Yes. Mr. Moran, how are you today?
Salama kabisa. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes, hatujaonana hii mwaka. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm well.
Yes.
Bado naendelea kushughulikia vichwa. Spana zangu ni za vichwa.
Yes.
Na ninashukuru Mungu kwa sababu ya kunipa mwaka mpya. So that we can be able to continue with the trainings and capacity building.
Sure.
And I'm grateful we are back.
Wow.
2024.
2024.
Men and addiction.
Men and addictions.
Yeah, so this is a very big topic.
Yes.
It's very huge. You can never finish exploring such a topic.
Yes.
It's very, very, very dynamic. Yeah, so here I am.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Now, and thank you so very much even for making time to be with us today katika Men Matters.
Yes.
Na kuna hii issue ambayo umepata nikizungumzia nikiuliza kama hii time ya COVID. Kwa sababu kuna wanaume wengi, actually there were so many marriages that were broken time ya COVID.
Yes.
Because I think for the first time kuna watu wengi walirealize ni kama huwa naishi na stranger. I've never known this person. Watoto hata anaanza kujiuliza watoto ni wangu. Now, did it fuel any form of addiction? Ama did it become a promoter to any form of addictions? Maybe as a way to suppress depression, maybe?
I would wish to say, before I come to that answer,
yes,
maybe there is a viewer there who is wondering exactly when we are talking about addiction, what are we talking about?
Yes.
And then we see what has fueled addiction. Probably COVID could be part of it. But when you talk about addiction, we are talking about a chronic condition. You know, addiction is a condition that is characterized by compulsion.
You are compelled to do something.
You are forced. You are seeking, you are using, and you are unable to control. If we use COVID as one of the reasons why people are addicted, we are using COVID as a scapegoat. Because research about addiction goes way back to 1900s.
Yes.
So I would say COVID only exposed addictions rather than fueling it.
It just revealed.
It revealed what people...
the can of worms.
Exactly. People have been addicted for decades, and people have died of addiction. Lives has been lost because of addiction, even before COVID came. And therefore, we can simply say this issue of seeking, using, and inability to stop depending on something or substance abuse has not come with the COVID. COVID came to expose it. It helped men to know what their wives are addicted to. It helps women to know what their husbands are addicted to.
Yes.
So basically, I would say COVID exposed it because majority of men who are addicted to anything, they hide it.
Yes.
But COVID forced them now to be in the house.
They had to uncover everything.
And uncover everything that they have.
Yes.
So, so Mr. Monene, I would think to give this discussion a direction, would we begin by looking at all the types of addiction that are disturbing men? Probably, I had you mention about food as one of them, but it would be wise if we help some people are actually addicted, but they don't know.
Then could we be talking to a viewer?
Yes.
Mwenye maybe anasuffer some, ako in a bondage ya some addiction.
Ako in addiction.
Na hajui ni gani.
Lakini yeye hajui.
Kwani I just thought maybe kuna addiction ya chakula na ya pombe na sigara.
I don't think majority of people who are addicted to things, some of them think it's a normal life they live. But it's very important for us to be able to help our viewer to understand that there are various types of addictions.
Yes.
But in this particular moment, we are trying to look at addiction that actually affect men.
Yes.
And to mention but a few, number one, we would talk about substance abuse. And in substance abuse, we are talking about alcohol and drugs. There are those who are...
And the unsubscribed, unprescribed.
Unprescribed drugs and also illicit drugs. Where men are addicted to alcohol, they are seeking alcohol, using alcohol, and they are not able to control. Others are using drugs, they go seeking for them, they overuse them, and that they are not able to control. So that is what we call substance abuse, whereby we are abusing alcohol and drugs. And then the second one is behavioral addiction.
What is that?
Behavioral addictions include things like gaming. Those men who spend their whole time gaming, gambling, excessive watching of TV, movies.
Now, man of God.
Yes.
Since when nikakuwa watch TV na watch a movie ni...
You know, watching TV and movies is not a bad thing. But when it becomes excessive, it becomes addictive. And men, sometimes you see a man who is spending the whole day gambling. And even when they don't have money, they want to stay in the presence of gamblers. Akae tu hapo ajionee wakifanya gambling. Others just want to say where the gaming is taking place. So there are those behaviors, like pool table is a behavior. And other kinds of games that men love to enjoy in their social gatherings. So we call all those, if you do them in excess, until you neglect other responsibilities as a man, therefore gambling, gaming, internet use, all these together, we call them behavioral addiction.
Ile mtu unakuta mtu ameanza kuscroll simu.
Exactly.
Ana scroll simu hadi inaisha moto.
Yes.
Anaidugisha
mpaka kidole inakuwa hot.
Anaidugisha kwa plug pale.
Yes.
So ana scroll ikiwa kwa moto kwa sababu simu yenyewe hataidisha moto.
Exactly. Then we have number 4.
Yes.
Number 3 is workaholism. These are men who are addicted to work.
Is it addiction to work ama ni kupenda kazi?
We need to love work, but we don't need to be controlled by work, because addiction is when you have lost control.
Yes.
And therefore, workaholism has to do with excessive attachment to work until you neglect yourself, you lose your self-care, you are not able to take care of other responsibilities,
yes.
You're not able to have time with your family because of work, until you die in the work. Yes. So workaholism is also another addiction. And you see there are men who really are attached to their work until they forget they are married. They forget to eat, they forget to take a shower, they forget life because of addiction. It's called workaholism addiction. Then we have sexual addiction.
Now, maybe before we go to the fifth one, alcoholism. Could it be that maybe it is an expression of another issue?
Well, it can be a scapegoat. It can be an exit route from a challenge or a trouble. But I would definitely, you can develop workaholism habit until it becomes an addiction without you running away from something. But there are men who become workaholism trying to run away from their wives, trying to run away from responsibilities. Kuna COVID ingine, iko COVID fulani kwa nyumba. Sasa unakuta wakati unafanya kazi excessively, yes. Unaweza suffer from what we call yes. Then we have sexual addiction. Sexual addiction is when you have sexual behaviors that control you. Maybe excessive sex, both in the marriage and outside the marriage. Sex can be an addiction even to the married. It's your very own marriage, but you are addicted to sex that you cannot survive by controlling it. It is controlling you. Sex is so powerful, it needs to be controlled. And therefore, when it is done in excessively, even within the perimeters of the marriage, it can become addictive. Then we also have things like pornography, sexual content interaction, but we are talking about excessively, and we are also talking about inability to control. They control you, they beckon on you, zinakuitaita, unakuta hizo vitu si wewe unataka kuzifanya, zinakulazimisha.
So you find that there is nothing you can do either to stop it or to avoid it, like you have to do it.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Hello, my name is Enon Atieno.
This is a very interactive and a very enlightening discussion that we are having here. I would like us to take a short break, a quick break, and then of course when we be coming back, kuna watu tumeongea nao pale mtaani. I want us to hear what they are saying also about men and addiction, and then we'll be right back after this short break.
Exactly.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Hello, my name is Enon Atieno. I'm a fashion designer, and I've been into this industry for quite some time, like a period of 3 years now. Okay, after my parents came to realize now I really have a unique thing about fashion, they just left it to myself. So I started looking for those apps that inspire about fashion, talk about fashion, look up to people who are into fashion, and that's how I got into this craft, trying out new things, trying out new ideas, not only for fabric but even for creative. Okay, fashion is not a big thing. It doesn't have a big definition. Fashion is just dressing up yourself, accessorizing, you know, making good out of dressing. You don't just dress
for the sake of.
dressing.
Yeah.
Fashion is coming up with your own unique way of dressing and accessorizing it to complement your outfit.
Welcome to Africa International University, where education meets transformation. At AIU, we don't just educate, we inspire and innovate, shaping Christ-centered leaders who will transform Africa and the world. Our academic programs cater to every ambition: certificates, diplomas, bachelor's, postgraduate, master's, and PhDs. Join our international community and embark on an exciting academic journey that goes beyond borders. We lead, we innovate, we inspire, because at AIU, we are more than a university. We are a family with a common goal of transforming the world. The time is now. Enroll in AIU and be a part of a university in the heart of Africa, with Africa on its heart. Africa International University, where dreams take flight and leaders are born.
Cause all my life you have been faithful.
You are invited for the New Beginnings prayer meeting at the Faith Harvest International Churches at Roy Sambo on TRM Drive inside the Word Mega Tent behind Jewel Complex. Hosted by Overseer Reverend Virginia Nganga, Senior Pastor Steve Njuguna, Pastor Paul Githai, Pastor Benjamin Kuria, and Pastor Danson Gugi. The guest speaker will be Apostle Julius Subi of Exploits Worship Center.
It's time to enter where you have never entered. Am I talking to somebody?
Our
Brimming with moments worth celebrating. The dreams we chase, the connections we cherish, the laughter that fills our hearts. These are the true treasures. But sometimes, the path to those moments can feel clouded by financial worries. What if you could invest in a future where chasing your dreams isn't just a desire, but a reality? With Enwealth Capital, small steps lead to big possibilities. With Enwealth Money Market Fund, you can secure your financial future for a better tomorrow. Meticulously crafted for growth, carefully managed for safety of your investments and growth, you can invest as little as 1,000 Kenyan shillings. Whether you yearn for the freedom to travel, the joy of owning a home, or the security of a comfortable retirement, we enable your dreams to reality. Sign up today through www.enwealth.co.ke/capital or call 0700-617-443 and secure a lifetime of financial well-being and dignity through Enwealth. Enwealth Capital Unit Trust Scheme is approved by CMA, which does not take responsibility for the financial soundness of the scheme. Prices of shares and income may fluctuate and the right to redeem shares may be suspended. Enwealth Capital Limited is a subsidiary entity of Enwealth Financial Services Limited with regulatory approvals to provide pensions, investments, and insurance services.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Wow, welcome back. This is the Men Matters Friday. Kwa pamoja nami naitwa Munene David. Thank you so very much for you keeping touch with us, you being with us, you watching us. Najua kuna watu wanatuwatch pale katika mitandao, Facebook live, pale ni katika MBCI TV, alright? Na pia unaweza kutuandikia katika, an SMS. You can write us an SMS. By the way, it's free of charge, okay? That is katika 23814. Unaweza pia tuandikia pale katika WhatsApp 0721-105-105. Tuambie. Now, what are some of the types of addictions that you know? Yeah, and what are some of the challenges ambazo unajua watu ambao wako na addictions ambazo wanapitia, right? Yeah, you can speak to us and as we continue with this very, very enlightening discussion. Siku ya leo niko pamoja naye our guest, Reverend Mahoya, ambaye anatusaidia katika kuunderstand, katika kuziweza hata kuzitanja na kuzijua kwanza some of these addictions, some of the types of these addictions. And maybe before we proceed, kwa sababu tumeweza kuangalia kama 4, tumeweza kutaja kama 4 kwanza, but before maybe tuweze kuendelea na zingine. I want us to take a stroll kidogo, tukimbia pale mjini kidogo, pale mtaani. We'll get to hear what some of these people are saying regarding men and addictions.
So wewe ni kitu gani ambacho wanaume wanapenda kukifanya unakuwa so addicted sana kulingana na wewe?
Okay, they do several things. Like kuna wenye wanapenda mpira, kuna wenye wanapenda kukimbia, lakini my major one ni wenye wanapenda tuseme kumpenda Mungu extraordinarily. Hawa watu nakuta ni wenye wako very responsible, they act positively towards their children. Hata wanakuwa na watoto wenye wanamwogopa Mungu na kuwakuza in the right way. That is the big thing for me. Kwa sababu wakati unakuwa na mwanaume responsible, especially for now mimi nauzaga serious. Ukiona ni kazi yetu, tunauza serious. Na wakati tunauza serious, unakuta a lot of customers, some are men. And this is so nice kwa sababu unakuta at the end of the day there are those who are positive towards their family, na unakuta mtu anakuja anashughulikia watoto wake na wengine wanamuogopa Mungu. Unaona, that is the big thing for me.
Kwa majina naitwa Joseph Muita, na uraibu wangu mara mingi wakati niko free, mimi sana sana upendelea kucheza pool. Huwa inani keep busy na pia inani refresh and naweza sema it's where I find, at least naweza sema it's my happy place kind of.
Wanaume sana sana wanapenda kwenda mpira, kujionea, kwenda football, watch movies, na hata sana sana wengi wao wanapenda sana kwenda kwa mikutano, sana sana mikutano yenye hao watu wa siasa wako.
So unaweza toa advice gani kwa wale wanaume wanapenda maybe kuwatch movie na sijui unajua kila ambacho inawasaidia kulingana na wewe unafikiri inawasaidia vipi?
Sana sana na wahimiza wapende mambo ya Mungu. Hiyo time wenye wana watch movies, wanaenda huko kwa mikutano ya siasa, wengi wajihusishe kwa kanisa. Juu kwa Mungu ndio kila kitu inatoka.
Labda ni watch nini? Ni watch mahubiri. Kama niko nyumbani ni watch mahubiri. Kama si watch mahubiri, labda tuko tu na watoto nyumbani tu.
Na kitu yenye nakuwa addicted naye sana ni kuuza mtumba. Hizi nguo nimeuza kwa miaka mingi na naonaga ikiwa msaada wangu ama usaidizi yangu. Unaona? Kwa hivyo nikiamkia asubuhi na furahiaga kuingia mpaka hapa hivi.
Sasa kitu unapenda kukifanya sana.
Ile kitu napenda kufanya sana si ni kuuza sasa mtumba. Kuuza mtumba. Hizi nguo nimeuza miaka mingi. Na nafurahiaga maana yake inanisaidia.
Naona wanaume sana wanapenda kufanya ni kushughulika na siasa, kama siasa za nchi na mambo mengine mengi kama mpira na kucheza, yani shughuli za kucheza hivi, kujientertain. Hivyo ndio wanapenda.
Na hivyo unaweza toa advice gani kwa wanaume?
Naweza waambia wanaume wakuwe watu wa kushiriki na church, wajihusishe na church na wakuwe na mashughuli zao za kushughulika na familia zao.
Mimi mambo najituma kama mwanaume.
Wewe unapenda kufanya nini?
Mimi kazi yote tu yenye ninafanya kwa Kenya hii sichakui kazi. Ndio maana nimekuambia saa zingine na sahubiri injili.
Sasa wewe unapenda kufanya kazi?
Kazi kabisa.
Ndio kitu unajikuta uko so addicted kufanya kazi.
Kazi kama mwanaume ujitume.
Na kitu kingine ambacho kama mwanaume unapenda kufanya?
Kama mwanaume lazima uangalie. Hii maisha yetu hii lazima uangalie. Unajua? Sasa lazima tufanye hii kazi ndio. Unaona hata saa hizi unaona nimebeba hii. Ninajituma napeleka muziki mahali.
Labda sasa nikikuuliza what is your hobby? Unajua hobby ni nini? Unajua hobby ni nini? Kile kitu ambacho unapenda kukifanya sana.
Mimi kitu yenye nataka kufanya kabisa ni kufanya kazi ya Mungu. Kwa maana kufanya kazi ya Mungu umefanya kazi ya maana.
Wow, that's a beautiful one. That's awesome. Kuna watu nimesikia pale mtaani Reverend Mahoya akisema ya kwamba kuna mmoja amesema ako addicted, anapenda wale wanaume wako addicted na kazi ya Mungu. Sijui na kumpenda Mungu. Sijui kama hiyo ni addiction.
It's good to categorize addiction into two. Number one is clinical addiction and non-clinical addiction.
Yes.
Clinical addictions are those that are proven psychologically to have really challenge of even withdrawing. They have negative consequences.
Yes.
But when you talk about non-clinical addiction, there could be even things that you are doing that you are excessively and extremely attached to. And so they may have some negative consequences, but whatever has been grouped as a clinical condition in terms of addiction is basically not what they're talking about. Let me tell you something about the people who are talking here. Number one, you may think they did not understand the question. They did understand the question, but they don't understand the man. Because man is a creature that is hard to understand. One, you hear women are talking about men's addiction, and I can tell you they are not getting it. Because one of the reasons why it's hard for a woman to tell you about what their husband is addicted to is because, number one, they hide, right? It's hard to know that your husband is struggling with some addiction because they never share, and they will not tell you it's an addiction. And then they get out as normal to go and attend to their addictions, and then they come home as if there is nothing. So majority of women who are talking about addiction there, I can tell you simply it's hard. Number three, men don't understand their addictions. Sometimes what they call addiction is an addiction, and what they don't call addiction is an addiction. And therefore, that's why I said it's very important for our viewer to understand what addiction is. It's when you are seeking, using, and you are not able to control.
Yes.
But huyu wa kuuza mtuba si anafugaga kazi anaenda analala.
Yes.
Sasa kuuza mtuba si addiction. I can say that is an attachment.
Yes.
Is an attachment to that business, and that's okay.
Yes.
Because ukikataa kuamkia kazi na ukuwe na attachment na kazi yako,
kukosa kupenda kile ambacho
unafanya,
hakitakupenda
pia.
Yes.
Hizo si addiction. Addiction ni kitu ambayo hata kuacha kwenyewe. Number 2, utaki watu wajue uko addicted.
Yes.
Number 3, unaificha.
So it's secretive.
Very secretive.
Yes.
Number 3, inakuumiza. Number 4, unashindwa kuacha. Addiction, kwa Kiswahili tunaitaka urari. 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 U-R-A-R-R-I.
Okay.
Urari.
Yes.
Addiction ama urari ni kitu ambacho huwa hakikupatii nafasi ya kujitetea.
Hakikupatii nafasi ya
na kinakuibia nafasi ya kwenda kwa hiyo mtuba.
Yes.
So whatever they are talking about addiction is not really addiction. And that tells you people are fighting a battle.
Yes.
That is so anonymous to them. They don't know what is that.
So people don't understand what they are fighting.
Exactly.
And now, before we come now to sababu sitaki tuanze kuguzia the elements of addictions kwanza. Nataka maybe tumeangalia about 4 of them. Tumeangalia substance abuse. Umetuambia about the behavioral I mean substance addictions hizo, the behavioral addictions. We have the workaholic, the addictions hizo related to kazi.
Yes.
And then we also have the sexual addictions. Hizo ni baadhi ya zile ambazo umeweza kutaja kama tukienda kwa pumziko fupi.
Yes.
What are some of the other types of addictions?
When we talk about addiction, Mr. Munene,
yes.
Before I mention that other types, there's a scripture that Paul says in 1 Corinthians 6:12. Sometimes we may wonder whether addiction is, I'm just struggling to understand whether people really know. When we're talking about addiction, we are talking about what? Mwingine anasema ati mtu ako addicted to going to church and to loving his family. And I think that is a misinterpretation of addiction.
Yes.
Paul anasema 1 Corinthians 6:12, ndio tuangalie types. I have the right to do anything. you say, but not everything is beneficial. And I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. Two characteristics of addiction from what Paul is mentioning here, referring to. Number one, all addictions don't benefit you at the end. So when you're addicted to taking care of your family, that's not addiction. Eventually your family will be very strong.
So that's not an addiction.
It's not addiction.
Yes.
Yule naye anauza mtuba, mwenye anasema akona addiction ya mtuba. At the end of it, ni pesa utapata.
Yes, which is something good.
Which is something good.
Yes.
But Paul is trying to tell us here, ya kwamba addictions in a characteristic mbili. They are not beneficial at the end, and they master you. To master means they take control over your life. You don't go where you want to go. You go where the addiction is taking you.
Decide where utaenda.
Exactly.
Sangapi.
Yes.
You know, those things.
And that's why we are talking about now the types for people to see, to be able to relate with the types. And we said the first one is substance abuse, which include alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
Madawa za kulevya, zile ambazo hauna prescription ya daktari, na yale madawa ambayo ni sio halali, na pia ulevi wa pombe. That is a substance abuse.
Yes.
Ya pili tumesema ni behavioral addiction. Behavioral addiction ni tabia ambazo zimekuteka nyara, hauwezi ukaziacha kwa kutaka. Moja yake ni gambling. Men are always gambling, and those gambling becomes an addiction. Unakuta akiamka asubuhi anaenda kwa gambling center. Sasa anashindwa kukaa mahali panapofaa.
Akitafuta ni gani atawekelea.
Exactly. Ya pili ni gaming.
Yes.
Unakuta wanaume wamejaa kwa gaming centers. Na gaming is a behavior. Ya tatu is too much TV and watching movies is a behavior.
Kama kuna mmoja nimesikia amesema yeye.
Yes.
Na movies
But you see challenge ya movie ni kwamba ukiwatch usiku sana inaenda na usingizi. Ukiwatch mchana inaenda na masaa ya kazi.
Yes.
So too much of it will actually become very costly. That's why we are saying addiction zote hazikusamehei.
Yes.
Lakini kama kuna kitu unapenda kufanya na inaleta faida kwa jamii yako, kwa maisha yako, hatuwezi kuiweka kwa addiction. Ndio maana nimesema most of these addictions are grouped as addictions by experts. Then we have what we call even internet and technology use is a behavior.
Yes.
Unakuta mtu, unajua, sijui kama ushaijua bwana Munene, ukishika simu uscroll hivi, simu inaendaga na an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Unarealize umechuka
bila kujua
masaa matatu na kidole ndio inatembea kwa maisha yako.
Hadi inakuwa moto hapa kwa hivi.
Exactly. Na unachoka shingo na mgongo kwa sababu ya kuscroll. Hiyo ni behavior. Then ya tatu inaitwa alcoholism. Tunasema alcoholism is when you are attached to your work until leaving that work becomes a problem. So you are excessively working, neglecting other responsibilities, working day and night.
Yes.
Self-care is not there. You are struggling to take care of your family, and then you realize you are so attached to your work that even when you are sleeping, you are thinking about work. When you are walking, you are thinking about work. Work until it becomes an addiction. Ya nne tumesema ni sexual addiction. And sexual addiction, we say, is that obsessiveness concerning sex. And this addiction is not just about prostitution. It's not just about people who are not born again. Sexual addiction can also be found in marriages, where you cannot control your urge to sex. And you know, sex is not a daily thing. Sex needs to be done with moderation, even within the family, because it can lead to other negative consequences, even if it is among the married, which we'll talk about that later in future. And then number 5, men are addicted to fitness or exercise. You realize that there are men who are forever in their gyms. They never get time to work. They never get time for their family. Ni ku-exercise na ku-build 6-pack na muscles.
Anataka
kuonekana ako sawa.
Yes.
So unakuta kuna excessive exercises neglecting important responsibility. Then we have number 6 is a shopping or spending addiction. Remember, I'm including both clinical and non-clinical addictions that are really affecting men. And now we have a shopping and spending addiction, where a man is addicted to buying. The moment you get money, kuna kakitu kanakwambia nunua kitu, buy something. It's an addiction. Something is calling you to buy something. Enda ununue. Ukipata pesa, roho ya shopping inaingia.
I even remember a man of God fulani tumekuwa naye hapa akituambia kwamba sometimes akitoka kazi za nje you just go by the supermarket anafanya shopping kubwa, and then with time the wife started complaining, anamwambia whatever you've bought ulikuwa umenunua last month, ingine 2 weeks ago hii kitu umenunua tena, zingine karibu ziaribikie hapo, because yeye akishaingia kwa supermarket lazima hiki na hiki na hiki
mpaka zinaharibikia kwa nyumba. And men can be addicted to shopping and buying, and you need to check whether you are mastered by buying or you are the one who control what you buy.
Yes.
The number 7 is sports. You know, there is sports addiction. A man is searching for footballs and matches every day. They never leave their screen.
Kama AFCON sasa.
Kama AFCON sasa, yes. So unakuta you prioritize sports, and then you neglect family, rest, sleep, you neglect work because of sports. That's an addiction.
Yes.
And then we have number 8 is over socialization. It's what you heard our viewers talking about. Mambo ya kufuata wanasiasa.
Yes.
Ni social gathering mwanaume anafuata. Na unakuta anasocialize daily, excessively. Na akikaa peke yake hana amani.
What if it is their economic activity?
Majority of them you realize when they come, you know, you can, as a man, as a mature man, you cannot survive on handouts.
It's true.
Because when you follow politicians, the only thing you can actually get from a politician, because it's your fellow men, is handouts. And may I tell you, my brother, mwanaume kuinua mwanaume mwingine ni kibarua. Kwa hivyo kama mwanaume anafuata mwanaume mwingine akitafuta handout, ni kukwambia utapewa handout na eventually you live an average life or below average life.
Yes.
And then the last one is food related addiction. And you had mentioned this. This has to do with overeating, the binge eating. You are overeating. Unakula mpaka saa 8 unaamka, unaona mtu anatembea kutafuta kitu anazauma. Anaamka kujisaidia anakula.
Saa 8 ya usiku, saa 9
saa 9 bado anakula. Food addiction. Na kuna wale wako na addicted to some types of food, na kuna wale wako na addicted to eating anything.
Yes.
Unakuwa na excessive eating. So those are the few kinds of addictions I would mention today because of the interest of time.
Yes.
And I would say, let me tell you something, men don't know they are addicted to these things. Women don't know what their men are addicted to. Because men hide their addictions. And the other thing, men enjoy their addictions as normal life. But they have regret at the end of the day. They don't share those regrets with their wives. They don't share those regrets with other men. But they carry them around.
Now, let me ask Reverend. Then, kama a man can be in the house, all in the workplace, and is battling addictions. Na sisi hatujui kwa sababu hajatuambia.
Yes.
What are some of the elements then of these addictions inaweza kutusaidia maybe even to identify mtu mwenye anasuffer? What, you know, we are not necessarily looking at any specific addiction. We're just looking at addictions in general as of now.
Yes.
So in generally, what are the elements of addictions? Tunaweza nikiangalia fulani naweza nikasema huyu venye anakaa ni kama nimenotice this and this and this and this.
You're right.
And this person could be having some addictions.
I would say there are elements of addiction or characteristics of addiction, and there are also signs.
Yes.
But there are commonalities you see in addiction. Sometimes you may not judge an addicted person. So basically this is for someone who is suffering addiction.
Yes.
How do I know that what I'm doing is actually an addiction, one of the elements of addiction is compulsion. Compulsion tunasema ni msukumo, forceful, overpowering. Compulsion, you must do it. Wakati mtu akona addiction, you engage in behavior without you choosing, but you being forced. Uko na msukumo mwingine mkali sana, inaitwa OCD. Yes. Obsessive Compulsive Disorder.
OCD.
Yes. Unakuwa na Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. Ambayo hufanyi juu ya kutaka. You are compelled by a force to eat how you are eating. There's a force compelling you to drink. You did not go to drink by choice. You are drinking by force. Inaitwa compulsion. All addictions. Kama ni simu, unasikia kitu, kuacha hiyo simu kwa mkono uiwekele kwa meza ulale. Ni kama imeshikiliwa na guru kwa mkono. Unasikia hata ukiweka chini unachukua. Ni compulsive.
Could it be why, the reason why, unakutana maybe sometimes na mtu mwenye amelewa, akilia machozi.
Yes.
As in, unakutana na mtu, sio kwamba kuna mtu amemchaba au amekosea. Kuna mwingine anaenda
hata wanaokokanga walevi. Wanaokokanga sana.
Yes.
Na unajua sasa ile amekunywa, anaona hii life si poa.
Yes.
Na amelewa, anaokoka, lakini kwa sababu ya addiction
akirudi anakunywa kama anakuwa dragged back.
So watu addiction wanaokokanga sana. Lakini finally they are not getting a breakthrough because receiving Jesus is one thing, but withdrawal is another battle
altogether.
Yes.
All right.
So the first is compulsion. You have overpowering force leading you to addiction. And this has mambo ya addiction haina kuokoka. Iko na watu waliokoka na watu wa dunia. Addiction is cuts across.
So unaweza kuwa umeokoka lakini bado.
And majority of people you see walking around are battling, every person is battling a temptation of an addiction somewhere.
Yes.
Until you come to a moment of realizing this is an addiction and I need to find an exit route before I am mastered.
Yes.
The second element of addiction is loss of control. All addictions will deny you control. They will give you a real struggle to put a limit.
Yes.
All addictions will tell you no limitation to this journey. Ni kweda na kweda na kweda. Despite the side effects, all addictions don't care whether there is death, there is danger. They carry this characteristic in all of them. They deny you self-control. They tell you, here, you are not the driver. Get out of the steering.
Yes.
Yours is to obey where we tell you to go. Unakumbuka wakati tulikuwa tunafunga ile bito.
Yes.
Bito tunaifunga na uzi. Alafu unaiachilia inatembelea juu.
Yes.
Addiction iko hivyo. Inaweza ukuruhusu ufanye mambo yako mchana, lakini jioni inavuta kamba. Tena inakurudisha mahali ufanye kile unafanyanga.
Yes.
So one of the characteristics of addiction yote, iwe ya chakula, iwe sexual addiction, alcoholism, substance abuse, all of them, they deny you control. Workaholism deny you control. The third thing is, and when I say denying you control, we are saying you wake up in the morning, yours is to go to work, but it tells you you are not going to work, you are going west. Yes. That's addiction. Number 3 is what we call negative consequences. All addictions have negative consequences. There is no addiction that will not cost you. They might cost you health, they might cost you money, they must cost you life, they must cost you relationships, they may cost you family, they cost you time. So all addiction will cost you. There is no addiction that forgives. All addictions are costly. And then the other commonality in all addiction is tolerance. Eventually, when you continue with the life of addiction, it wants you to accommodate it as part of you. It wants you to survive and reduce sensitivity to it. Don't be sensitive that you are drinking now.
So
now this is us.
It becomes now, it's within the limit of accepted.
It is accepted. It wants to live with you without shame.
Yes.
Inaitwa tolerance. This is why you see someone is watching pornography in their homes, in their computers. They are not caring any longer who is knowing. They know their wives know, they may be caught, but they are able to tolerate. Now the tolerance has to do with the reduction of sensitivity. All addictions will reduce sensitivity. You know, there are times, for example, the issues of pornography. Yes. You watch pornography day one, how does this world look like? The next thing, kwani watu wanakuwa na pepo?
Watu ni wabaya aje?
Saitani. Then unakaa, wewe ni ulistuka, lakini ukiendelea, utaanza sasa kuiaccommodate kwa your life.
Yes.
You watch and you feel normal. You feel it was part of it in the morning or the night or whatever, and you move on. It has become your friend. It is called tolerance. All addictions will develop tolerance and kill sensitivity at the end.
You know, one man of God said that there are people who do some things, like for example, watch pornography, and ni kama anataka kupata prayer point.
You're right.
Ni kama unatafuta wale watu utaombea. You know?
You see, when you are entering into, pornography has an introduction. And the introduction is the day one you get exposed to. There's always a shock. And that shock, and you feel yuck, but at the same time you wonder, what is this?
How is it even
But if you are not careful, the second time is not a shock. We call it curiosity. The stage 2 of curiosity, you now want to go and verify exactly what is it that I saw. At that stage of curiosity is where the journey of exploring starts. So those who go to watch pornography to look for people to pray for and to know how to pray are just people who are curious of pornography, but using prayer as a scapegoat, and also using prayer as a means to reach to it. But generally what is leading the second stage of leading people to pornography is actually curiosity. You see it the first time, you are shocked, you wonder, you even judge the people you see, but the second time you want to understand more. And the curiosity killed the cat.
Yes.
And the moment you start showing a lot of curiosity, addiction journey begins. It becomes a habitual, becomes a character, it becomes an addiction. And then the fifth one is the withdrawal challenges. Yes. All addictions will present before your eyes the withdrawal symptoms and challenges and struggle.
Yes.
Sijui kama unaona mtu anajaribu kuacha pombe anatetemeka kama hajakunywa. Sigara sioni.
I was given a story by a friend of mine. Naitwa anajulikana mzee Kinywa, lakini kuna watu wengi wanamjua kama Mheshimiwa Meja.
Yes.
Akaniambia there was a gentleman, mzee fulani alikuwa wakati ule hakuwa ameokoka yeye pia. So yule mzee alikuwa pia anakunywa pombe. But alikuwa amekuwa so mastered by pombe that mkono moja haingefanya kazi.
Paka atoe rock.
Actually ilikuwa inafungwa na uzi, like it's sad, inafungwa na uzi, alafu hii uzi inashikiliwa kwa hii mkono ingine. So ndio ijaribu ifuruto ijaribu kuingia ifike kwa mdomo. But the moment amekunywa the first sip, now the hand becomes stable.
Mwili inatulia. Now tell me, do you see that now consequences of that kind of an addiction? Wengine hata hawaonangi. Kuna watu literally asubuhi mpaka agoge grass ndio aone. Kama hajagoga grass haoni. Mwingine kama hajagoga puff moja ya sigara anatetemeka, anaumwa na kichwa, anaona giza, anasikia anxiety. Zinaitwa withdrawal.
Yes.
The withdrawal challenges and symptoms. Addiction zote ukifika ni kuacha, lazima mpigane vita. Na hiyo vita unakutaka mara nyingi lazima kuhitajika kitu nitakuwa intervention.
Yes.
Either by a qualified psychologist, counselor, or maybe a spiritual leader. And I will tell you, don't joke with addiction, because addiction is exciting when you are doing it, but it's so challenging when you want to withdraw. We normally say this, Bwana Munene, when we are creating bad habits are easy to create, hard to live with, and hard to leave them. You get that?
Yes.
All bad habits are easy to create, hard to live with, hard to leave them. And then good habits are hard to create, but easy to live with.
Wow.
Very hard to create, but easy to live with. And bad habits are also easy to stop. Sorry, good habits.
Good habits are
easy to stop.
Easy to stop.
Yes. If you are prayerful and you wanted to stop praying, you can. If you have been a good person reading the books and you want to stop reading, you just stop. But bad ones, bad habits,
kuiacha.
Ukijaribu kwenda kuacha, inaitana mkutano, committee. Where are you going? Why are you going? Yes. And then the final one, inaitwa preoccupation. All addictions preoccupy your time, and they take something away from you, or they take you away from something. Preoccupation, here I say, all addictions must occupy part of your life that you never wanted to preoccupy. So they take away time that you should have been with your family, or time for work, or time to rest. They preoccupy that time before you even go to work, so before you even do.
It's like they come to replace something good that existed.
No, exactly, or they come to dislodge. Lifestyle yako inakuwa dislodged. Unatolewa kwa maisha ya kupumzika, maisha ya kuonana na jamii, maisha ya kutafutia watoto, maisha ya kuongea na mke wako, maisha ya kulala, maisha ya kufanya vitu meaningful kwa life, inakuwa na preoccupation. So hakuna addiction kwa hii life ambao haina preoccupation. Lazima ikuje mbele ikalie kiti, ndio ukitaka kuketi ikupatie nafasi ya kusimama wakati unafaa uketi. Lazima ikuje ichukue masaa ya kulala. Lazima ikuje ichukue masaa yako ya kufanya vitu za maana. So all addiction are time wasting, for example. They will always take your time for something else. Mtu wa kulewa, imagine mtu anaenda kutoa rock asubuhi. Sinikwambia hiyo ilikuwa masaa ya kazi. Sasa ashakunywa. So hata kufanya kazi hataweza. Na unajua kukutana, usijui kama ushaenda kukuta mechanic ambao hutoa rock asubuhi ndio watengeneze gari. Na ni wazuri. Lakini majority of the customers doesn't understand, doesn't connect your drunkenness na gari yangu. Ndio unakuta akitoa rock asubuhi na yeye ni mechanic. Kuna kitu addiction preoccupy. It has taken the possession of your customer.
It is true.
It has also taken the possession where you could be able now to reason with those people who are giving you money. So all addiction taking something out of your life, or they take you away from life. Yes.
Now that is a good one. Let me tell you, man of God. You know, we could just think that we are talking about, okay, someone might think that we are talking about some few, or rather some abstract things happening. Hizo vitu ni kama zinafanyikanga Malaysia. But when I look at some of the SMSs here, kama kuna moja hapa anasema, naitwa Tresia from Makueni County. Anasema kucheza pool ni addiction, juu wanaume wanaamkia huko. So that I think that is some place in Makueni.
And you're saying pool table. Pool table is a good thing. It will rejuvenate the mind. It's a place for social network. But if you wake up and it replaces life, if it preoccupies you, then it's an addiction.
Kuna mmoja Divin Jenga. Divin Jega.
I know the man.
Anasema those consequences, they are terrible.
They are terrible.
They are terrible. Terrible consequences.
And you are a man with a family. And you are preoccupied. You cannot be able to take control. you are actually suffering from terrible challenges. Indeed, you are.
Naona kuna watu wengi sana hapa akiwemo wa Mahoya Gladsam.
That's my good friend.
Wow. Anasema more grace to you, Rev. Kuna mwingine hapa naona akizungumzia mambo ya wengi wanasema more grace kwa sababu kuna mwingine anasema anajulikana kama Caroline Jerry. Anasema addiction is real.
Oh, it's real.
Very real.
It's a demon.
This one lazima hii tuikabili. Lazima tuishughulikie.
We have to help the addicted.
Now, naangalia naona time yetu ndio imesonga vizuri. Okay, we are going on well. Lakini there is something that I desire that we do today. Kando na kuangalia the addictions in men, the types and the elements and the characteristics of addictions. I also want us to look at that segment, the book Insight.
The book Insight.
Yeah, so that
yes.
Especially, mwanaume anahitajika kuwa anakaa akijijenga kimawazo.
You're right.
Tumeambiwa hii mwaka ni mwaka wa kujenga. But of course, hakuna mjenzi ambaye kwanza hajajengwa.
Yes.
Kwa sababu hata ndio upate the ujuzi wa kujenga, lazima kwanza ulipewa huo ujuzi ama ulijengwa. And for us even as men to be able to navigate this life.
Yes.
And to be not just men, every one of us to navigate through the issues of life. Lazima tuko ready kujengwa.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
I would want to share part of this book. I want to share some few things from this book on 15 rules of managing finances. And there's a rule here that relates very well with what we are talking about.
Yes.
And that's rule number 4. This book has got 15 rules of managing finances.
Yes.
Rule number 1 is work. Man has to work. 2 is put God first. 3 is save before you spend. 4, invest in yourself first. 5, observe shopping rules. And when you are addicted, shopping rules don't make sense. Number 6, get out of unnecessary debts. Number 7 is communication is key. You cannot manage finances without proper communication with your family. Number 8, work with a budget. Number 9, avoid get-rich-quick schemes. And you know, get-rich-quick schemes, they are addictive.
And there are so many of them right now.
Yes, a lot of them. And then we, rule number 10, instead of lending, give. Rule number 11, live within your means. Rule number 12 of managing finances, know that money cannot buy everything. Then rule number 13, pay your workers faithfully. Rule number 14, set shared financial goals. And rule number 15, and the last one, learn from your mistakes and the mistakes of others. Because of workaholism, so because men want to get rich quickly. So one of the things they think, and this is affecting men, is that money can buy everything. In my book, Franklin said, he that is of the opinion that money will do everything may be suspected of doing everything for money. So, and addiction to alcoholism and addiction to getting rich quick could be triggered by the thought that money can buy everything. But it's good for me to remind money that money cannot buy everything. There are so many things money cannot buy. Money cannot buy friends. So you need time to create friendship as a man, meaningful friends. Money cannot buy peace and happiness. You may leave your family to go look for money, but you regret one day. Money cannot buy a loving spouse. If you see a loving spouse because you have money, when money go, so does the spouse.
So wanaitwa gold diggers.
Ni gold diggers. Money cannot buy eternity.
Yes.
We all need to give our life to Jesus Christ and create time with God and church.
Yes.
Because there is eternal life.
Yes.
As men, it's good to know that number 5, money cannot buy intimacy with God. You need to remember, stop working, stop those addictions, create time with God.
Yes.
Money cannot buy health. You may be assisted by your money to go look for a doctor who can assist you. But the truth of the matter is, the doctor treats, God heals. Money cannot buy health. Actually, in search of money, we have lost our health. In search of wealth, we lost health. And that is to say, money cannot buy health. Then, 7, money cannot buy salvation. Money cannot buy salvation. If salvation was something that money can afford, then Jesus had not to die.
It's true.
But because money cannot buy salvation, we need the grace of God. We need to submit ourselves to the Lord Jesus Christ. Lastly, money cannot buy good manners. Money cannot buy character. No matter how much money you have, you must watch out that your character is not taken away, even if you have money.
You have to work on the character.
Yes, and may I also conclude on this chapter on this by saying this.
Yes.
That if you can do anything for money, then money will take you to anything. If you can do anything for money, money will take you to anything.
Money will take you to anything.
And most of those anything, they carry addiction. Money can take you to a lot of addictions.
Money can take you to gambling. So that you can do anything
to gaming, to pornography. Yes. When you don't have money for battles, you can't really access.
It is true.
Exactly. When you don't have money, you are not able to drink. You don't able to get to buy drugs and all that. And that's when unaonanga watu wale wako na substance abuse wote wanakuwa na element kawizi. Kwa sababu ndio kijana akiingia kwa madrugs, lazima aibe mayai, auze TV, auze mtungi ya gas. Why? Pesa kuna vile ina facilitate. So if you think, if you can do anything to get money, then money will take you to anything, even what you never intended. And let me say this, Bwana Munene.
Yes.
From this book, and I have discussed that, man is older than money. Because remember, God never created money.
Yes.
Money is man-made. And therefore, as you look for money, remember, you are older than money, you are greater than money, and money found you.
Wow.
So it should not be a goal in life to become rich until you're addicted.
Thank you so much. Now, you know, when you've said that money will lead you anywhere, money can take you to anything.
Yes.
I don't know why I've never remembered this in quite a while. That was when this young man was this man here was in a young boy of class. That was class 7 then.
Exactly.
Kuna ile karata. You know the cards.
The karata.
Hizo sasa tulikuwa tunaingia kwa majani chai, background kuna majani chai huko. So mnaingia huko, you spend like literally the whole day mkicheza karata. Na kuku kama hawatakaa vizuri watakuta amepitishwa. Mayai kikaa vibaya itaenda. I remember one time no, that was a bad one. But I remember tukicheza, unajua sasa hiyo class 7 bado unaangalia watoto wakicheza hide and seek and all that. Sometimes unaangalia unaona watu wamejificha, hakuna mtu anakuona. Gumboots, zile mud boots.
Yes.
Za nyumbani nakumbuka kuna siku nilizipitisha.
Ukaenda unaziuza ile pesa.
Nilirusha mahali.
Yeah. Unarusha kwanza. Alafu nakuja baadaye.
Kwa kukiwa na kagiza. And then I think I was given less than 20 shillings. Na sidhani na hizo vitu zilikuwa expensive.
Yeah.
Now that is sad.
Addiction will change you to another person. It can never give you or allow you to be normal. One of the things I didn't say there, all addictions affect normalcy. You can never be normal with addiction.
Yes.
You only need to learn to live with abnormalities. Because all addictions are abnormal. They will take you to a place where Normalcy is no longer the order of the day. And Bwana Munene,
yes,
as we come to the end of this show, it's good for me to emphasize this.
Yes.
Addiction is not just for non-believers. We have enough addicts within Christian circles. We have enough addicts in the church, in the four walls of the church. In the body of Christ, we have addicted pastors, we have addicted church members, we have addicted church workers, we have addicted believers. We have addicted non-Pentecostals, we have addicted Pentecostals. So addiction is a monster that does not know whether you are born again or not. If you take a root of addiction, addiction doesn't know you are Jesus. Addiction is something you need to tread carefully. It doesn't know you are Jesus. You can have salvation, you can be born again, but you are actually addicted as a child of God. And the Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes, a wise man will avoid all extremes. So whether you are born again or not, and you carry Jesus and the Holy Spirit, if you are not able to define your extremes, if you are not able to know when you are going beyond, if you're not able to know when you are extending beyond your boundaries, it doesn't matter whether you're born again or not. Sometimes when you talk about addiction, we see those sinners, those non-believers, those drunkards, those drug abusers. But even the very people who stand on the altar, they need to check themselves. Addiction cut across. Excessive seeking, using, and inability to control a behavior, a substance, or a lifestyle is a thing of humanity, not non-believer or believers. It's everybody across the board to see whether they are addicted. And addiction will make you travel more than you had paid. It will take you a journey far than you are willing to travel. Addiction will cost you.
It will always force you to go an extra mile.
Not even a mile, extra miles.
In the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction. And eventually, if you're not careful, addiction's destination is hopelessness. Nobody has ever arrived in a better place when you're addicted. You're totally going to be hopeless upon your arrival. And majority of them eventually kill themselves. Or they get deeper into it to try and forget about their addiction. It's a demon. It's a monster. It's a devil. It's a big thing. And all people need to watch out.
Well said, man of God. All people need to watch out.
Exactly.
Indeed, even the Bible says, them that feel or think they are standing,
if you think you're standing,
they must watch out.
Be careful,
lest you fall.
Unaweza anguka pia. Na ni wale wanasimama wanaangukaga, mwenye ameanguka anguki tena.
I think that's where we wrap it up.
Yes.
Kwa sababu there's a lot that we've not said about this program, about this topic, addiction. Na sababu sasa next time, one of the things that we'll also be looking at, is it possible to get out of this addiction?
Exactly.
And that will be, of course, for next week. That's one of the things we'll be looking at. And thank you so very much, our viewer, we umekuwa pamoja nasi since pale saa 4:30 to this time. Thank you so very much for your interaction. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for following us katika our online channel, that is MBCI TV Facebook page and our YouTube page. Thank you so very much, man of God, even for finding time to be with us. And we are always blessed to have you around.
Great.
Thank you so much. Until next week, mimi naitwa Munene David.
Reverend Sammy Mahoya.
Thank you so very much. Until next week.
Great.
Bye-bye. God